Hi, welcome to the second channel. Welcome to the new format, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, to my shelves. I haven't made one of these reviews in a long time because I simply haven't been motivated to, but I think I'm going to start doing this thing where for every game that I play this year that I beat and that isn't for a video on the main channel, I'm going to make a video on starting now. So every year I play at least one new game a month. This is just a formality so that I can play at the very least 12 games in a year. So I can make my definitive top 10 games of the year without having to think about it as much, you know? Uh, but the thing about this is that the games that I gravitate towards are very similar. I've played 5 games this year, at least that I have played enough, and to the point where I feel like I can make a review of it, which is on track. I mean, we're just in June, so, you know. But as I finished off Lone Fungus, the 5th game of the year, as it were, I kind of realized something. 4 out of the 5 games I've played this year all feature heavy platforming elements. First, we have Hi-Fi Rush, which is mainly a character action game, but it does feature a lot of platforming and platforming elements. Then we have Pizza Tower, that's just a straight up platformer, focused on speedrunning and stuff, but still a platformer. Vernal Edge and Lone Fungus, both Metroidvanias, similar to Hollow Knight, or I'd actually, in Vernal Edge's case, I would actually say more blasphemous, if you've heard of that. And then Passepartout 2, or Passepartout the Second, or whatever you want to call it, because saying Passepartout 2 sounds dumb. Which is an art game. It's the only one that's different, and I want some variety. So I was looking at the games coming out, and I saw one that was coming out the same day, 30th of May. It was this cool little game called To Hell with the Ugly. What does that mean? I don't know, but it seemed pretty cool. It had this striking, unique art style with a very cool um, color palette, and it intrigued me. So it came out, I bought it, I played it, and now I'm talking about it. This is To Hell with the Ugly. You like the setup? It's my shelf. The reason why I'm standing here is because this side has nothing. There's a calculator. You want a calculator? Oh, you want to... And we got my unfinished shelf of Wii U, and Switch games, and then we have this shelf with like games that aren't, and fucking Snood 2 on Vacation, the best game on the DS. Eminem's Break 'em. So, To Hell with the Ugly is a pretty good game. First of all, I should probably talk about the art design. The art design is beautiful, gorgeous, absolutely marvelous. It's obvious. It's got such a unique, striking color palette. All the cutscenes have like the character's skin like meld in with the background, which is a really cool stylistic choice that I really like. And it's also got this beautiful style. It's hand drawn, and you can definitely tell it's supposed to be set in the 50s. It's got a very 50s art style. I very much like it. I think it is probably, if we're going to make a ranking of like my favorite things in this game, right here, art. The art design is magnifique. And right under that, we have the setup. The setup to the story is wonderful. I highly, highly, highly recommend the story, because it's very interesting. If a little generic, but still pretty cool. No, it's not actually that generic. It's pretty cool. So you are Rock. I forgot his last name. That's not his name. I forgot his last name. Hence why he's called Rock. I forgot his last name. That's not what he's called. That's what I'm calling him. Who's a handsome, rugged, blonde boy, just like me if I was handsome, rugged, and handsome. Who is going to the Zooty Slammer, a club, I guess, jazz club, with a bunch of buddies, and then shit hits the fan pretty quickly. He talks to this girl, and then they go outside, and then nothing really happens, because get this, Rock is a bit of a nun. He doesn't want to fuck. So Sunday goes back inside and he's like, shit, hell of a night. And then some guy is like, yo, you want a shiggy? And he goes, hell yeah. And then he smokes, and then he fucking falls over and he's knocked out. Where's he going? Well, he gets kidnapped. And when he finally emerges back at the Zooty Slammer, back at the club, what does he find out? Oh, there's a dead man. Typical. And he thinks it's connected. And I think that just set up for the story is really cool. I liked this idea that he's just a guy. He's ruggedly handsome, which is very important to the story, mind you. He's strong and whatever, but he is just a normal guy who gets caught up in a murder mystery due to a drugging. So yeah, setup right here in the rankings. Next thing on the docket, the gameplay. This game is weird to describe. What is it? At first I thought action game, but as I started playing it, it just didn't hit those elements really. There's very little action in it, and the very little action that there is turn-based combat, which I'll get back to. So I thought, RPG, but when I thought about that, it isn't at all. It doesn't have leveling up, it doesn't have random encounters, it has nothing along the lines of that. The only similarity is the turn-based combat. Again, we'll get back to it. So, like, is it an action game? No. Is it a puzzle game? I mean, there's a lot of puzzles in the game. You might be noticing a theme. I'll get back to that. But it's not a strict puzzle game. It's got a story that's, but the story is pretty important. But it's not story focused. It's not like a Heavy Rain, what is that, Life is Strange kind of thing. It's not that kind of thing. So, what is it? It's an action puzzle point and click adventure game thing. What am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to say? And it's very fun. It's incredible. You go around, you talk to characters, you find hidden clues in the environment, you sort names in a phone book. At one point, that puzzle was pretty tricky, but I very much liked it. And you gotta sort these files as well, which are really cool. And then you have to solve this mystery, and it's very fun. And then eventually you get to the combat. The combat is good. I very much like it. It's not complicated, it's not complex, it is fun, and that's all you really need, don't you? It is turn-based, which I generally despise, but it is turn-based in a way that isn't too annoying. It's not so complex that it makes it hard to understand and not fun, but it's not so simple that you sit there spamming a button. It borders on that line a little bit, but it instead of just pressing the button and doing the attack, it takes the Paper Mario approach of having to time your attack. So you either time it to the red circle or to the black circle. To the red circle, you do some damage. To the black circle, you do a critical hit. And and then you can do so many attacks, and you can heal before every attack. There's also, you get pepper, and there's certain attacks that do like stun and stuff. And in some of the fights, there's also other elements, like a guy who smokes a ciggy. It's the guy that gives you the ciggy. Right at the end, you fight him, and he smokes it, and then if you don't press F at the right time, you'll get stunned and you can't attack. Or this girl who's like, fuck you, and she just yeets a pot at you. Oh yeah, they're not random encounters. They are all scripted. So there actually isn't that many fights in the game, so the fact that it's pretty simple doesn't really matter, because you see it quite rarely. But here's another part of the game that is very important, that I'd say is even more prominent than turn-based combat. Stealth! This is a stealth game as well. Add that to the list of fucking genres. RPG, action, stealth, point and click, just add to it. Add to it. There's a lot of genres here. But it does stealth in a basic but fine way. You hide behind some objects, you wait for them to pass those objects, you go back in front of the objects, and you go to the nearest door or window or staircase or whatever. There is an achievement, by the way, if you want to get achievements, if you want to get as many as you can on the first attempt. Be very careful not to get caught, because there's an achievement to not get caught in any of them, which I did on my second try, because I couldn't do it on the first try. Okay. Is that the answer you wanted, huh? Now, I've been speaking very highly of this game. Every single gameplay aspect has been, at worst, fine. And at best, really, really, really good. But here's the thing. I'm expecting at the end of the year, this game might be in the top 10. Maybe. But probably in the honorable mentions. And here's why. I have a lot of positive things to say about it. Again, art style's beautiful. Music, which I'm not a music guy. I can't really speak critically on music. I don't know how to, but it is good. The gameplay is phenomenal. The puzzles are great. They're not too hard. They're not too easy. The story in concept is very good. Conceptually is very good. I like the setup and all this, and characters are nice and whatever. And all this is great, and I was enjoying it, I was having a good time, and then it ends, and then what? That's my biggest problem with this game. It just ends. My first playthrough took me not even 4 hours, which for a like $20 game, that's pretty bad. And I took it pretty slow as well. So, what? And not only does it just end, it's a short game. Not only does it feel like the end comes too soon, not only can I think of multiple ways to make this game last longer by just changing the story, but the ending is also just bad.
It's at this point I should maybe mention that this game is based on a book. I didn't know that when I recorded this, but it's based on a book. So any story complaints I have is actually probably the book's fault. I haven't read it. Maybe it's really different, but take this criticism with a grain of salt, as it might not be the developer's fault. Okay, thank you, bye.
So, spoiler warning, you can skip to the end of my conclusion with the timestamp that's on screen now, but here's a full plot synopsis. Okay, so after you investigate the dead body, you find out who it is, and you go to the police and you find a little bit more about it. You find out the place that you were kidnapped to is this like lab where they create artificially beautiful people in classes from A to Z, and Z is like the most beautiful. And so you come to this place, you find out about this, and it's all going good. And then you go to the billionaire scientist's private island where he has all of these experiments, just partying out and then having sex and shit, and yeah, whatever. That's all good. And then you bust it down, you find out info, and then suddenly everybody just kind of accepts the main evil guy's plan, which is to plant these beautiful people and charming and charismatic people all across the world, especially in the United States, as politicians, as actors, as singers, as whatever, and just and it's like Syndrome's plan of all things from The Incredibles, If everyone's super, no one is, or in this game's case, if everyone's beautiful, no one is. And the characters just kind of all accepted, except for one, and it's not the main character. It's a side character who's a dog. His name's Nunu, and I like the character. It's cool. And it just, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Like, why did it just end there? Why don't we end the evil guy's plan? Why? This game is really good. It's a fantastic game. As said, visual style, story setup, music, gameplay, characters, everything is on point. It's all so good. And then it just is over. It's just over. Just like that. And I don't like that. For a game this price, feels a bit off. I don't like it. I'll be honest. I don't like that it just ends like that. And I wish it didn't. I wish it was a little better than that. But do I recommend it? Yes. On sale, because again, it is far too expensive for what you get, even though it is fun for the 4 hours. Unless you're like me and you're planning on speedrunning it, I've already done a run and I'm planning on grinding out some runs until it gets put onto speedrun.com. So, wow, thank you for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Next video on the main channel is coming eventually. I'm gonna get it out before that fucking new 1-2 switch fucking piece of shit comes out. Oh my god.